Like, subscribe, and die. Let's talk about the new horror film Influencer. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch or Pass, and I'm here to talk to you about Influencer, which comes to Shudder on May 26, 2023. It's a movie about this segment of humanity, these wonderful, heroic people who put themselves out there on social media, give their views, share pictures, things like that. And maybe it's got a little bit of a horror twist as well. Actually, it is a very good horror film. My hot take is, look, I think you should watch it. It's a nice, slow-building thriller that has a great setting, good style, and some really nice music. I really liked the way that it kind of like contrasted the influencer's public life versus their kind of private life. And then it also has some nice horror elements as well. So I'm going to tell you a little more about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and go into the ending. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the ending section. If you don't want to know what happens in this film, I would turn it off when I get to the ending section. But before that, I'll keep it vague. I will not get into spoilers. So you can keep watching. I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So in Influencer, you have Madison, who is a popular social media influencer who's on a trip to Thailand. She was supposed to go with her boyfriend, but he had to bail at the last minute. And so she's on her own. She is kind of doing her social media thing, exploring the country. And then she runs into this mysterious person named CW. And that leads to some fun, but also tense moments as these two get to know each other. And maybe it leads to some dark elements. Well, I don't know. You'll have to watch, like, and subscribe to find out. So things I liked about this movie. The first, I really liked the contrast. I mentioned it in the hot take, but I really love how this film showed, the personal life of the social media influencer and then the like public persona. I really loved how when Madison was like traveling around, she didn't really look like she enjoyed much. I mean, she was in Thailand, it was beautiful, and she just kind of had this like mute look on her face. And then when she would take the picture, all of a sudden she would like glow. And I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was kind of a nice way to stylistically show that, and a nice kind of way to show you just the difference between public and private personas. The second thing I loved is the setting. Look, it's Thailand. It's beautiful. It's a really great setting for a horror film because you have these lush, wonderful landscapes, but the film does a good job of kind of like downplaying all of that. It's a little bit cloudy. It's a little bit overcast. So you have this kind of like beautiful location, a little isolated. It helps to kind of showcase the thriller elements where you've got these like terrible things happening in this wonderful paradise. The third thing I loved is the style. Like, it has a really nice style, especially kind of like the use of lights and colors. I mentioned that this is a little bit more muted at times. It does have a lot of overcast aspects, but there are other times when you have these really beautiful scenes. Like I said, it's set in Thailand, so you got some really beautiful scenery. You've got some nice night scenes where you have neon lights. You've got them experiencing the street life. And you have some parties that have kind of bright lights as well. It's a nice way to like frame this thriller where you have a setting that has these beautiful elements, but then there is this overarching sense of dread because it's a thriller and there's some unsettling things that start to happen. The fourth thing I liked is the music. It has just a really good variety of music. There's some like EDM music, some like kind of upbeat, I guess, music that probably the kids listen to these days. And then there's also some sinister music as it's trying to build that dread and build those horror elements as well. So it just has a nice variety and it really kind of fits the style, especially the kind of like upbeat EDM music really fit the influencer style for this movie. And the last thing I loved is the slow pace. Some people might not like that. I could definitely see why you wouldn't like it, but I loved how slow this was to develop. It took a while to get really any horror elements into it. It was a lot of like character building, a lot of like slow travel. And that really, I don't know, I appreciate that when the film does that. I appreciate that when they don't like need to jump right into the horror. And if it's done well, you do get some unsettling feelings during this time that kind of like keeps you on edge. And I really liked just kind of how slowly this film developed and introduced new elements. Like, it wasn't just about Madison. There are some other elements that come in as well. And I liked kind of how it like layered all of that together. So things I didn't love as much, and there's not a ton, but the first, there is a confusing kind of like character in this a movie, and I'm going to go into that when I get into the ending section. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's one character that kind of like is portrayed one way and then later on seems very different from what I expected that character to be. So it was just a little convenient for the story and a little kind of like confusing for me overall. And the second thing I didn't love as much is the ending, and the ending is not bad. I liked aspects of the ending, but I do wish it had been changed a little bit, like just, I don't know, emphasize a few things, but I'm going to go into that when I get into the ending section. So that is Influencer. It's coming to Shudder on May 26, 2023, so you can check it out in the comfort of your own home, or you can check it out on vacation. Get Shudder, go to Thailand. I don't know, you probably have to VPN in or something to watch it on the American stream, but do it there. It's the perfect setting, or watching the comfort of your own home. But definitely check it out. I thought it was a pretty good thriller and just an enjoyable overall horror experience. So I'm gonna get into that ending section. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers. So if you don't want to know what happens in this film, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So, like I said, this film starts off with Madison. She's on a trip because her and her boyfriend kind of had a fight. He's a little bit more controlling. He seems to be kind of a little bit of a jerk, especially when they have conversations. They like FaceTime, and he's like asking her what she's doing and why she's left and things like that. It seems like their relationship is on the rocks. So Madison ends up taking this trip by herself. Now she's traveling alone, and eventually meets up with this person, CW, who seems local. She seems to know the area. She shows Madison a few places, and eventually takes her to this like secluded island with no cell service, just like the ultimate Thailand experience. But not really, because there CW drugs Madison and leaves. And then kind of the film shifts from Madison as the main character to CW, where you see kind of the things that CW does. She lives in the place that Madison was at. She, posts for Madison. She kind of like, she makes some posts using like AI to change the images and like voice recreation to kind of make it seem that Madison is still there to kind of keep up this ruse. And she kind of moves on to her next victim. So she stays in Madison's place and finds a new victim, Jessica, who is another influencer who is traveling in Thailand. It seems like CW basically searches for Bangkok on Instagram, finds influencers that are there, and then tries to like hunt them down. Now, it's unclear why CW does this. I think she kind of does this out of spite. She does this because she doesn't like these people kind of like trading on their fame and thinking that they are like more important than they actually are. She makes a point to mention, like, before she abandons or kills them, like, you think that people will notice you, but once you're gone, like, no one will notice you. I think it could also be because CW has like a birth defect on her face. It's noticeable, but it's not like super distracting. But that could also be part of it. Maybe she like doesn't like these people who trade off of their beauty. I don't know. There's some mixed motivations, but in any event, she seems to search for people who are in Bangkok and then find them. Now, she finds Jessica, who is also traveling in Bangkok. She is traveling by herself. She like is an advocate about like traveling on your own so that you can like love yourself and like know your own strength. And once you can travel on your own, then you can like, be comfortable anywhere. Now, CW does the same kind of thing. She kind of like befriends Jessica. Seems like she's about to do something to her, either kill her or take her to this island. But then there's a wrench that's thrown in the system, because Madison, the first influencer's boyfriend, Ryan, ends up surprising Madison. He ends up surprising her, goes to the house, sets up this beautiful like dinner, expecting her to be there, trying to like, I think, apologize and make it up to her. But what he gets is CW and Jessica, which is not what he expected. Now, Ryan kind of rolls with the punches. It's interesting because his persona when they were FaceTiming was kind of very controlling, very demanding, untrusting. But then in person, he seems to come for a romantic reason. Maybe it's a little bit controlling, but he seems fairly romantic, and he seems to roll with the punches. He doesn't seem as like strung up as he was before. It could be just because he's traveling. It could be because maybe he realized he messed up. But this was kind of a very convenient character twist, I thought. He went from this like very demanding person to this like chill guy that is in Thailand. And CW's like, oh, well, Madison's not here. She left. She told, she said that she didn't like you anymore. He's like, that's weird. She didn't like text me or anything, but whatever. I guess I'll just wait around here until she gets back. So now we have 3 people in this house. Now, as they spend more time together, Jessica and Ryan become kind of like friends and exchange some information. And it seems weird that Madison would befriend this person, CW, invite her to stay with her at this like house, and then disappear. And they also seem to notice that CW has some weird explanations for things. Her mood shifts a little bit. I think they start to get a little creeped out by her, understandably, because CW is a little bit scary. But they start to kind of like come up with a plan. Now, all of them go out one night at a club, and then Jessica disappears pretty early. She heads back to the house, packs up her stuff, and is getting ready to leave. Now, CW is watching Jessica, and when she sees her disappear, she also decides that she's going to disappear. So she decides that she's going to find out what happened. She comes back to the room, sees Jessica leaving, saying like, no, you can't, you don't have to leave. Like, you'll be fine. And that's when Jessica confronts her. She says, like Madison's room was broken into, her passport was gone, that's why she had to stay. My room was broken into. Seems like the only common denominator is you, CW, and also you're creepy, and like I don't want to be near you. So as Jessica's about to leave, CW snaps and just like throws her head against the wall. Jessica hits her head like she's dazed. She's kind of crawling away, and CW gets on top and like starts strangling her. And eventually kills her in a very gruesome way. Although they don't show this, she uses her heel like right in the throat. Oh, not good. She then like throws Jessica's body in the luggage and it's starting to clean up when, wouldn't you know it, Ryan shows up. Ryan gets back after that night out. He's like not sure why everyone left, but he brings the party back to his house. He has some people come over. They're all like there. They're all partying. And CW's like, you have to go. He's like, this is my house. What are you doing? And CW gets more angry. And when everyone leaves, CW is about to like go in and murder Ryan, but he had inadvertently or maybe intentionally, I can't tell if Ryan is like calculating or just like super lucky because he seems to keep doing things that make sure that he's not going to get killed. He, shows up when Jessica's there, so that like limits the ability of CW to do anything. He comes back to this party with a bunch of people, that limits the ability for her to kind of cover up and also do anything to him. Right when she's about to kill him, he like posts on Instagram that he spent the day with like Jessica and Madison's creepy friend. He like posts a picture of her and tags her. So now that information's out there, CW's a little scared, and so she doesn't kill him then, and she tries to start befriending him. She's like really nice to him. She starts talking about like becoming his friend, and you do get a sense that like Ryan cares about Madison. It seems like he was the one that like really got her started as an influencer. He has this like good social media sense and this like nice eye for talent. And so he kind of like started, I don't know, helping Madison's career, and he really loved that, and he loves Madison. Probably a little controlling about all of this as well, but you do get a sense that he seems to kind of like straddle that line. Now, after CW is nice to him, after CW like tries to befriend him, she drugs his drink and then like makes it seem like they had sex. She like takes a condom and throws it against the floor. She, wakes up in bed with him after he's like passed out. And it seems to kind of throw Ryan off a little bit. And she also uses his face to unlock his phone and delete the picture from Ryan's Instagram. So she's destroying that evidence. And it seems like she is trying to kind of like get into Ryan's good graces. For what purpose? You'll find out. So after this, Ryan, I think, is a little freaked out. And so he leaves to try to find Madison again. Now he goes to the resort that Madison was staying at. He meets this person that like seems to always be there. He hit on Madison in kind of a creepy way, but he at least remembers Madison, and he remembers CW especially. And that kind of like scares Ryan a little bit because like, why would she be here and then like leave with CW? And that's when he starts really looking at Madison's recent posts, and he sees that they look a little off. They look like they are Madison, but not really. Something is off with them. The voice is off, the facial movements are off. And as he's slowly clicking through, there is one frame in the video where like CW's birthmark shows up, which I thought they could have done that a little differently. I don't know. Maybe they could have like used the eyes rather than like the birthmark. The birthmark's a little bit too obvious. If he would have like been looking at her eyes and then like instantly seen like CW's eyes, that would have been, I think, something different. But in any event, he realizes that CW has been pretending to be Madison. So Ryan then like confronts CW. He forces her to take him to where Madison is, and they're going out late at night. They're going to this boat that is going to take him to the island. It's a really great scene. It's super dark. You can't really see anything. And then while they're getting ready, CW has her like wrist tied behind her back, and she like runs at him, shoulder charges him into the water, and like gets on top of him and strangles him in the water, which that seems a little bit superhuman. Like she was already kind of dazed from getting hit in the head. She had her hands tied behind her back. She's taking out this guy that's like bigger than her, seems fairly athletic, but she's able to do it. She kills Ryan, throws him on the boat, and then seems to go about her normal life. So now she's going to cover her tracks. She's killed 3 people. She's going to cover her tracks. She makes a post for Madison saying that like Ryan hit her, that Ryan was abusive, and that she's going to like take some time off from social media. And this post explodes. So you get a lot of like supporting messages. A lot of people are saying like, I always knew, I never trusted him. And now CW is going to destroy the evidence. She gets in the boat, goes out to the island to dump all the evidence. And when she gets there, it is very like Castaway-esque. You see this like log that had a bunch of notches before when she dropped Madison off. It has a lot more notches. And you see a fish being smoked, and you see some coconuts broken open, like maybe someone's drinking coconut water. And you're like, oh man, is Madison still here? CW seems to think so. She grabs a shovel and like starts going around the island. I don't know why she does this. Why didn't she just drop off Ryan and leave? Be like, okay, great, you're gonna survive. Have fun surviving and leave. I guess she wants to figure out what happened. I guess she wants to make sure that the task is over. So she is going through the island with the shovel, sneaking through the woods, and she hears something behind her. Boom! She gets hit in the head with a stick. Seems like Madison is still alive. Seems like Madison is a little bit more of a survivor than we thought. She knocks CW out. She then heads to the boat, sees the boat, presumably sees Ryan. I don't know what I think she maybe dumps the body, maybe she takes it back. I'm not sure exactly what happens if she takes the body back with her, but she at least takes the boat, goes off the island. CW wakes up on the island, like hears the motor, runs down to the beach, sees the boat leaving. And was weird. Like CW just kind of like smiles and starts laughing. I guess maybe she got her comeuppance. I don't know. I think she'd be a little more pissed than that. But she's smiling, laughing on the shore as the boat goes away. And that is Influencer. So, like I said, I didn't love the ending as much. I thought they could tweak it a little bit. Maybe I'm just a sucker for happy endings, but I thought that CW could have taken Ryan out to the island. They would have gone at night, which I think would have been really creepy. Like getting to the island at night would have been interesting, and then arriving at night would have been really creepy. They could have gone up on the shore. Ryan could have been like, "Where is she? Where'd you leave her?" And then like CW could have been like, "I left her here. Like she was here." And then they could have noticed, the fish, and then they could have noticed the coconut shells and the notches. And then maybe Ryan could have like attacked CW, and CW could have like fought him off. And then maybe when she's about to kill him, boom, that's when Madison jumps in, hits CW. Then Madison and Ryan could have had like a, moment together. And then they could have ended. And Ryan would have survived. CW still would have been on the island. Madison would have still been alive. I thought that would have been like a nicer overall ending. But that's not to say this ending was bad. It just didn't end the way I wanted it to. So that is Influencer. Like I said, it comes to Shudder on May 26, 2023, so you can check it out then. And thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. Also, it's a movie called Influencer. You should definitely like and subscribe just because it seems like the natural thing to do. So please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you. Maybe I'm just a sucker for happy. The second thing I loved, yeah.